The word grab has now become a verb in Thailand. COVID created a huge challenge for us in how we engage our drivers. We have to build the pandemic into our daily lives.
How has Grab growth been since the COVID pandemic?
Well, just last year alone, our business increased 2x, right? And again, considering the impact of COVID on some of our core services, such as transport, the fact that we were able to double our growth is really, again, a huge sign of the strength of our ecosystem and how we're able to compensate for the impact on transport through growth in other areas such as Grab Food or launching new services such as Grab Mart, which focused on driving essential goods delivery to your home in a time when people were really concerned about leaving home and about their safety.
Now there are more competitors in this market and seem like AirAsia is on the way to this market as well. How do you prepare a plan to deal with this in the future?
I'd say, first of all, this is a very dynamic market, right? There are always new competitors coming in and some competitors exiting the market as well, right? Also, every competitor offers their own unique value proposition, right? Whether it's pricing, speed, and so on and so forth, right? So we really fundamentally believe that any competitor that enters the market is a good opportunity to create more competitiveness, right? To push us as well, to be on our toes and make sure that we're driving better services for our users. But I would say that we try not to be competitor focused at Grab, right? Instead, how do we think about winning, right? We focus on winning hearts and minds by making sure that we continue to have the best services and solutions, right? I think no other player in the market has such a broad ecosystem of services that touch so many different points in users' daily lives, right? So much so that the word grab has now become a verb in Thailand, right? And I think that's really important as we think about our competitiveness. It's not so much how do we look to others and what should we do against them, but how can we continue to develop highly relevant and impactful services for our end users, for our merchant partners, and for our driver partners so that we can continue to engage them to a very high degree. So our plans really generate around that. It's all focused on finding pain points for the user, right? Trying to resolve those pain points, finding users who maybe have a barrier to get onto digital platforms, right? How can we serve them better, right? And then unmet needs also from our current users. Maybe there's new services and solutions that we don't yet offer for them, right? So we always and continuously explore how we can add value across these different ways. And we think that those are the true ways to create competitive advantages for us rather than focusing so much on any one single competitor.
For people who knows not much about Grab, what makes Grab different than other brands?
So I'd say there are two things that I'll focus on. So the first is our mission, right? Grab regionally and in Thailand fundamentally believes that we are a social enterprise, right? We believe that our success comes through the success of our partners, right? So everything that we do is focused on driving success for our driver partners and our merchant partners. And we always think of our profit and P&L as both Grab's P&L and also the P&L of our partners, right? And therefore, that social mission really drives a lot of our decision making, and I think helps us engage very closely with our drivers, our merchants, and our community as well. I'd say secondly, I'll come back to the point of this ecosystem that I mentioned before. There's no other player in the industry that offers such a broad range of services, right? Whether it's in payments, in grocery delivery, in essential goods delivery, in food delivery, in transport across many different transport services as well. So really the universe of Grab is so broad that at any point in time in your day, you will have a reason that you might want to use Grab. And we really think that that's a key differentiator for us compared to other competitors in the market.
As we know, during the lockdown, people use more delivery service. The question is, when the day that pandemic situation ends comes, do you expect the competition for delivery service to be less or the same?
I think that the digitalization of economy in Thailand and across the world has been happening for a number of years now, right? Which is why Grab has been involved in these services for so long. However, what has happened through the pandemic is that it has essentially supercharged that development of the digital economy, right? However, we think that the digital economy is here to stay. We think that the habits and use cases that consumers have become accustomed to, the simplicity, the seamlessness, the convenience, is all extremely powerful. And as they think about, returning to normalcy, let's say after COVID, they will still find a space for that convenience. So we think that the makeup of our services will change. Some of the different use cases will evolve. For example, the transport sector, once that returns, we expect some of our services will start to focus again on tourism and hospitality, right? But at the same time, food delivery is now a part of people's daily lives. Whether you're stuck at home for work from home, or whether you're in the office and have very little time to go to a restaurant, food delivery will always play an important role in people's lives. So as they think about their meals, they'll now distribute between sharing time with friends at restaurants, right? Eating at home conveniently through food delivery, eating at work conveniently through food delivery, or even producing their own and cooking their own food with ingredients that they can acquire through Grab Mart as well. Well, first of all, I think Thailand is a foodie market, right? People are obsessed about great food. And I think as we think about our Grab food services in particular, we've been shifting our focus hugely to meet that huge requirement from users for great variety and choice, right? And I think that the amount of options available in the market are enormous. And as you would know, any restaurant has its own specific ingredient, recipe, secret sauce, right? So I think what's really exciting about the market for us at Grab is first of all, that untapped potential, how many more great merchants and great foods we can bring onto the platform is really exciting to me as a foodie, at least. I also think that Thailand in general is an extremely digitally savvy economy, right? And there's definitely a role there for us to play as not only playing a role within that digital economy, but really to help continue to supercharge it and fast track it forward so that we can continue to create more opportunities for drivers and merchants and more of these great solutions and services for our users as well.
Since last year, we will see the news about food riders of many brands continuously, especially about unfair wages. So what Grab current rider care policy is, and is there any plan to change or revise it in the future?
Yeah, so I think to focus first on last year, COVID created a huge challenge for us in how we engage our drivers. Prior to COVID, we used to have a huge amount of activities, events, and so on, where we connected with our drivers, got to hear about their feedback, right? Understand their issues on the platform, right? That changed with COVID, and it started to create a disconnect. And we saw that last year. So throughout last year, we've been re-engineering the way that we engage digitally with our driver partner communities. And we've really started to build better bridges again and better understanding. Now, as we think about what impact or effect that we have on these drivers, I think it's important to recall that Grab is a key enabler for this group of people who are looking for not just a key source of income, but also flexibility. When I talk to drivers on the street or at events, usually when I ask them what they love most about Grab, it's that flexibility that they get. They can log on whenever they like. They can log off whenever they like, right? And that's hugely valuable to them. But also, as they're a critical stakeholder for us, really on the front lines to help facilitate orders and deliveries, we also think that we have a role to play to drive those income opportunities for them. So I think just to share a couple key facts for you, what we've seen in studies is that, first of all, across the region, Grab finds that about 46% of drivers that join the platform as driver or delivery partners did not have a source of income before coming to Grab, right? So that shows a very obvious sign that the key role that we have to play for them is to provide more orders for them to fulfill so that they have more income opportunities. Also, more services and benefits that we can offer them to enhance their experience. And that's why when we look at even survey data from our drivers, we find a very high level of satisfaction of 77% across the driver community. However, there's always more that we can do, right? And we have new programs such as Grab Judhai, which is our essentially the umbrella with which we provide all of the different benefits to drivers that show our commitment to their long-term success on the platform, right? And through that, we offer programs such as Grab Insurance to protect them on the job, but also to protect them from COVID and to protect their earnings if they are taken out of work because of COVID infection. Grab Finance, which provides low interest loans and other financial solutions to drivers, which they tend to love. Grab Education through Grab Academy that helps them to upskill and learn new digital skills. Working with partners on Grab discounts so that we can find more benefits, right? And more partner deals to offer them to help reduce their costs of living. And lastly, other special events under Grab Special, such as scholarship programs for drivers, community events, and CSR activities. So we tend to umbrella all of that under this Grab Judhai program as an additional benefit to show our commitment to drivers.
So the last question, what is the key strategy of Grab Thailand to battle with this world pandemic?
Adaptability, I would say. We've learned that the pandemic, first of all, it's here to stay, right? We've been dealing with COVID for nearly 2 years now, and we don't see an end in sight. So I think that we have to build the pandemic into our daily lives at Grab, right? And remain adaptable, whether it's to adapt to new regulations or restrictions that may emerge when COVID cases increase, or whether it's to adapt to new use cases from users that we can really supercharge quite quickly. So some examples of this, again, last year at the start of the pandemic, when our transport business had nearly been eliminated due to the COVID lockdowns, we took the people, the resourcing and the funding that was used for our transport business, and we rechanneled that into launching GrabMart for essential home deliveries. We rechanneled it into offering more services and solutions to get merchants onto the platform faster, right? So through this adaptability, we can stay relevant and continue to drive impact and opportunity for our drivers and merchants as well. Even now, as we think about the current lockdowns, we've been adapting our services again. We've launched Grab Curfew, for example, which is essential rides for people who need to go to an airport, for example, or hospital beyond curfew hours. And there's a few of these other services that we'll be launching over the coming months as well to, again, adapt to the current environment. So adaptability really is key, and also some patience, I have to say, as well.
Okay, thank you for very interesting views and perspective from the Grab CEO Thailand. Thank you very much for being here. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Okay, thank you. ขอบคุณครับ